Yurt. What up, chat? Happy Friday, February 28th, 2020. Let's go ahead and let's kill the tunes for a second. Hopefully you guys are having a great end to your work week. Get an extra day of the month tomorrow, and then, we crank up March Madness Sunday, Monday. Lots of fun. Hopefully you guys did all right last night. 4 games last night. Didn't do a stream. It's only 4 games. You guys knew what to do, right? You stack Sixers, you play Anthony Davis, you move on, and that's that's basically what you needed. So hopefully you guys made out last night. It was a pretty chalky slate. It wasn't really easy to get different, unless you like. Maybe not different, but like if you completely avoided Andrew Wiggins, like most reasonable people did, but he was still 25% owned in some contest. He was a late scratch. Super unfortunate if you did play Andrew Wiggins. What are you gonna do? But yeah, otherwise, I mean, last night was pretty straightforward. AD having 39 at massive ownership wasn't the best, but 4-game slate gets a little weird. Hopefully, you guys did all right. We got a massive slate tonight. We got 10 games on the docket. It's a lot of games, a lot of teams. So we're gonna try and chop it up in an expedited fashion. So bear with me. And Adine says, "I promise Anthony Davis was not, quote, what you needed. It's not what you needed, but it's better play than Andrew Wiggins, right?" But yeah, other than that, I mean, last night was a normal slate for the most part. I wasn't really shocked by much. We are co-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. If you guys are watching on YouTube, man, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up and double check to see if you're subscribed. We're pushing 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then of course if YouTube ever goes down or we need an alternate or whatever, we're also streaming on Twitch. So if you guys have Twitch accounts, twitch.tv/Gundacker99, head on over there, follow the channel. I think that channel's working on the road to 2K followers, so both channels doing really, really well. And of course, if you're into mediocre gameplay by a boomer, you get that Fortnite action most nights, so go check that out. We are on YouTube as well. Shout out to the YouTube chat. David Sorella Ernesto says, "You're glad you jumped on, my guy. 10 games. It's 4 p.m. Eastern. Didn't think he was coming on today." Yeah, man, I kind of like just doing it 4 p.m. Eastern from now on. Even with the big slates, the Vipers don't seem to care if we bleed over. But I'm gonna try to expedite this. There's a couple games here that don't need a whole lot of time. I will say, just from a research and preview standpoint, there's a lot of slow-paced teams against fast-paced teams, a couple large spreads which shake things up. So I actually like slates like this, get a little fun. Van Jones looking to catch 3 nights in a row. Let's go. Ernesto says, "I'm guessing Karis LeVert will be taking a chalk shower tonight." I mean, it's obvious smash spot because we know, fam, it's the Hawks in Guns voice. Yo, we're going to make a shirt with that. What up, Peter? Slovenian night in Miami. Dragic and Luka are both from Slovenia, and Luka's 21st birthday. Nice. What up, Damn Ron? Dominic Marino. I think the Suns and some Toronto will be chalk tonight. 10-game slate. Hopefully we don't have to deal with chalk, right? Last big slate, we had Jakob Poeltl projected upwards of 80% pre-flop. He ended up being like 60%. Which I called, by the way. What up, Cam? I like Jared Allen. What up, Ed? Would you like to see, oh boy, Justin Jennings? What up, Justin? Priceless Fame. Had over 300. Found out Wiggins was out 1 minute after lock. So news like that. Someone told me in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord that Andrew Wiggins was still like 25% owned in the showdown. Whenever late news like that comes out, it's always worth taking a look at the lobby to see if there's some, late slates or showdowns, because a lot of people don't react to that. A lot of the people playing those contests aren't as sharp as you guys. So you never know. 25%. That's basically an overlay and no rake. Stuff like that, right? What up, Justin Sports Gun? You like the new Fortnite season? It's growing on me. It's all right. As a PS4 player, I've just been victim of a lot of bugs and glitches. Yesterday they released the PS4 patch to address all that, and last night I had a lot of fun, and I felt like my gameplay was a lot better. You see Harden and Giannis beef? I did not. I want to see that. What up, Thomas Kane? I'm leaving the Democratic Party. I don't want to talk about it. Or 3 nets too many tonight. Okay, buddy. There was news at like 11 a.m. that Walker was starting over Pirtle in the Discord that day. Yeah. Who just hit me with those bits? Yo, Dameron with the bits. It said I called in to be good at DFS and only got a Dale tone. Because dial tone. Yeah. Anyway, let's get cranked up here. We're going to try and go as fast as possible. I am obviously live, so if news breaks and I don't got it, man, spam the chat with it. As of an hour ago, Fantasy Labs says that Doncic is questionable, Giannis Antetokounmpo probable, De'Aaron Fox questionable, Bam Adebayo probable, Ibaka queued, Norman Powell queued, Bruce Brown Jr. queued, and Sekou Doumbouya questionable. So those are the big ones we need to watch. I'm gonna pull up. Let me make sure I got my depth chart up with the news. What was it? Roto World? Yeah, Roto World. Depth charts. We'll get that pulled up. And then we'll start going game by game here. And again, try to make it as fast as possible. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get out of here at a decent time. Basically, Harden said Giannis is just tall. Basically said you got no skill. That's interesting. I feel like those two are bad matchups for each other both ways. So it's just one of those feuds where no one can actually win, right? Harden could never guard Giannis, and Harden could just like lanky, I don't know, Giannis's arms. Harden will just like hook them and draw a foul every time. So it's not really like two guys that you could see going at it possession after possession and you know, eating your popcorn. That's a weird feud, you know. It's not like I don't know, Cat and Embiid or something where they have to play against each other every possession, and or like T.J. Warren and Butler. Like those are Harden and Giannis. Come on, bro. What are we doing here? Anyway, let's get cranked up here. Game numero uno. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Orlando Magic. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Josh Okogie, Juancho, Hernan Gomez, Nasri taking on Markelle Fultz, Evan Fournier, James Ennis III, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. 233.5 is our total. 7.5 point spread to favor the home team, Orlando Magic. Can we talk about what Aaron Gordon's doing? I was not a believer, but man, last game he showed up and showed out, and this has been a really nice stretch. Why do I have the late-only slate open on DraftKings? Bear with me. Uno momento, por favor. Let's pull him up on FanDuel instead. Almost 8K on both sites. I think he's 8K on DraftKings. Game log looking thick. Not going to lie. Looking thick. This guy has dropped well over 40 fantasy points on both sites. And he's basically earned this price point. 20 plus real points in a lot of these games, double-digit rebounds. This has not been atypical Aaron Gordon basketball if we can comp it to the last couple of years. But man, maybe he's just growing into this role, and now we present them with another really, really good matchup. T-Wolves defense, not great. And do we get another high 30s minutes out of Aaron Gordon, and will that result in, you know, another big game? I'm willing to have some. I still don't, you know, have that warm and fuzzy button here where I don't believe he's going to be a 50-60 point a game player. But I do like what I'm seeing, so I will have to have some. We'll probably start him off as a 3. We'll see if he can graduate to a 4. You gotta love the minutes, and you just gotta love him stuffing the stat sheet. This has been, like I said, not something that Aaron Gordon's been known for all the way around. Like he was 6K this season, and we weren't like running to click the plus button. But we have to take note on what he's doing. So he's got to be in the pool. Probably start off as a 3. Vucevic at the 9K area. I'm looking for the north side of 50 fantasy points. Again, this slate, I'm going to try and keep stuff as tight as possible. And okay, buddy. And we'll. I don't know if I'm going to land on Vooch here. Evan Fournier and Markelle Fultz. I think these are both great tournament flyers. A high total. I think both of them have 30, 40 point potential. We just saw what Evan Fournier was able to do against the Atlanta Hawks. I know it was the Hawks, but T-Wolves are not that far behind the Hawks in terms of fantasy points allowed. 46 fantasy points in that Hawks game, 28 real points. You could probably expect 20 plus real points in this game, and then you're hoping you get enough peripherals to get them to that mid 30, 40 point threshold for tournaments. So a couple of guys I'm writing down in pencil from the Magic side. On the T-Wolf side, I think we'd be remiss not to at least consider D'Angelo Russell. He's almost 9K on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel. It's not something I'm running to play, but last game out, 52 fantasy points at Miami. Miami are usually a tough. Lately, they've been giving up some points. But without Cat, it's not going to be that much longer that we can just go out here and absorb this 30+% usage out of D-Russ. So I don't mind a shot on him. I personally probably don't have or will not get to a lot of D-Russ, probably because I'm going to prioritize my bigs first. But I could see it. And then Malik Beasley, about 6K on both sites, has been a puncher's chance at 30 fantasy points. If you look at his basically every game as a member of the T-Wolves, with or without D'Angelo Russell, he's gotten you a strong shot at 30 fantasy points. So price not really moving that far. He's only gone up 300 DraftKings dollars since the last game, and that's been about where he has existed as a T-Wolf. So definitely a stocking stuffer, maybe a tier 3 guy. If the Opto throws in some lineups just to make it work, we'll put him out there. So if I'm writing names down, I'm penciling D-Russ, penciling Malik Beasley, Fournier, Fultz, and then Gordon. And I don't know if Vucevic is going to make the cut. Vooch is on the fence here. I don't know. I don't know that Vooch and Aaron Gordon coexist in a fantasy upside world. So maybe if I had some Vooch, it would be in lineups that didn't have Aaron Gordon. Maybe makes sense to me. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Anyway, that's it for that game. What do you guys got on this one? Chat before we matriculate on to the next one. Willie Hoop says Gordon's due for a fall big time. Yeah, you think so? What up, Fish fan? I know Cavs suck, but they've been playing better. Any thoughts on Nader since Gallo's out? I'm not playing Abdul Nader today, Will. It's a 10-game slate, man. I don't really think we're gonna have a need for a guy like Abdul Nader on the big slate. We'll just give that a extra bump to guys like Schroeder, SGA, and Chris Paul, maybe even Adams, right? T-Wolves playing very fast now. Great spot for Fournier. Yeah, I like it. Is a pace-up spot, and this is one of several examples today of a slow-paced team facing a fast-paced team. If we go look at that pace tab and RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheet, we'll see that the T-Wolves have been top 10 in pace all year, and they're sustaining a top pace with this new young core. And then the Orlando Magic are bottom 5 in pace, and we're going to see several examples like that tonight. I think the Kings are another big example. So a couple of extra possessions to be projected for fantasy projections and stuff like that for some of these guys that we're talking about, right? Gunn, did you see that abomination of a title change from WWE? I did not see it, but obviously I have Twitter and I heard about it. I have to check it out. I don't know. My perspective of wrestling is a little different than a lot of people, right? So I don't want to hate on stuff. I understand what it's like to have to tell a story, write a story, and portray that story. So I'm just here for the ride. You know what I'm saying? I'm not writing the story. Let me just hear the story. Brooklyn Nets at the Atlanta Hawks. Next game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, Taron Prince, Jared Allen taking on Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Bruno Fernando. 236 our total on this one. 3-point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. Man, Damron's going nuts with the bits. I feel like a stripper. 236 total 3-point spread in favor of the Nets. Karis LeVert 8.3 on DraftKings, 7.2 on FanDuel. Fam, it's the Hawks. We gotta love what Karis LeVert's doing. If we go pull up, let's go do a usage check, right? Let's go pull up RotoWire on off-court tool, and let's just take off Kyrie. Let's just take off Kyrie for now. We're not gonna put on the whole starting lineup, but Kyrie off and Karis LeVert on. And run that because Karis LeVert's been on some type of tear. This is definitely a very talented player that we've all known that since before his knee injury last year. And that's why a couple weeks ago when I heard about the some of those statements that leaked out from Kyrie talking about they need another big player, I'm like, man, he must not know about Karis LeVert. He's averaging 1.1 fantasy point per minute on the season without Kyrie on the court and him on the court, and over a 30% usage rate. 30% is the magic number. So at 7.2K on FanDuel, 8.3K on DraftKings, it's kind of like that Aaron Gordon situation where he's been crushing it. Is he going to sustain this pace? Probably not, but are we going to... is an optimal matchup going to be where we get off the bus? Same with Gordon. Now we're here with Karis LeVert. It's the Atlanta Hawks. I have played much less talented players against the Atlanta Hawks this season. So obviously I'm going to cop out here and say I'd probably like him a little bit more on FanDuel just because he's $1,000 cheaper. But he's absolutely crushing it. I'm looking for the north side of 40 fantasy points at this price point. I don't really see a reason for him not to do it if he's going to get a shot at 34 minutes. Definitely a guy I project to be 1.1 to 1.4 fantasy point per minute in this matchup. So give me some of that. Torn Prince revenge game coming back to Atlanta. Under 5K. Great pace, great spot for him to show up and show out. Get some peripherals there. Joe Harris, under 5K. Could he sneak into 20-plus real points, get hot from three? Yeah. Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert, if I'm keeping things sharp, are probably the first two I'm looking at, with more emphasis on LeVert at the moment. On the Hawks side, Trae Young, 10.5K on DraftKings. I imagine we're going to have plenty of value as the night progresses. Trae Young is the third most expensive player on DraftKings. Definitely has a shot at being one of the highest scoring players on the slate. 2 games against the Nets, he's averaging 64 DraftKings points. So we'll definitely build around a 60-point night if we can. So absolutely can correlate some LeVert, Dinwiddie shares with some Trae Young. Do I want to get crazy with other Hawks here? I probably don't. John Collins is at least intriguing, right? We love centers against the Nets. We don't love power forwards against the Nets. How much of which position will we get out of Collins since Dwayne Dedman's out? We still got no Capella. Definitely think it's viable that Collins can capitalize here against the Nets and their quote-unquote DVP against centers. And this season, 1 game against the Nets, 28 minutes, 22 DKP. So I'm willing to have some, but I tell you what, I don't have the warm and fuzzies on that one. Just to give you guys an aesthetic exhibition of what I'm talking about. Brooklyn Nets give up the 2nd most fantasy points per game to opposing centers, and then Torn Prince got that good D. They are the number 1 team at restricting opponents to power forward, or restricting opposing power forwards in fantasy points. So a big fire and ice situation going on there. So it's just a matter of how much Torn Prince defense is John Collins going to get. So for now, just give me some Trae Young. And then I got big minutes planted on DeAndre Hunter and Kevin Huerter. So if you want to get weird to 100K to first, I wouldn't talk you off having a couple shares of those guys. No warm and fuzzies here, but Trae Young being the leader of the pack for me on the Hawks side. What are you guys doing with this one before we matriculate on to the next one? Ernesto says, I wish DraftKings faded the Minnesota-Orlando game. Yeah, that would have been wow. What up, Danny Noodle? Peter says, Prince got that good D. Voted up in late, just saw Temple DVP cheap. Yeah, some Garrett Temple. I actually heard that name before I went live. Someone DM'd me. I was like, can I play Garrett Temple? And you guys know what I said, right? I said, fam, it's the Hawks. If you're going to get 30 minutes against the Atlanta Hawks, it's worth the shot, right? 34 minutes against the Wizards. Wizards are a very comparable team defensively. Shot volume was there, right? 12 field goal attempts, 9 of them being 3-point attempts. He just didn't make shots, man. If he makes half of those shots, maybe 4 or 3 or 4 3-point attempts, maybe get you to that mid 20-point threshold, and you're satisfied. So it is what it is. Mr. Conscious says Atlanta's worst versus the power forward spot on that chart. Lock in Prince. I like Prince. The minutes, the minutes are a little on the sus side, but I do like the matchup for Prince. So if I can push 30 fantasy points, put a little narrative on it, right, back in Atlanta, go for it. 3 games against Atlanta, 27 minutes per game, over 30 fantasy points. I'd be happy with that at 4,700. So sure, yeah, let's put Prince in the pool. And I'd probably start him off as a tier 3. He's under 5K, so it'd be a risky value play in my chart. But yeah, I'd probably have something like tier 3 ownership. I wouldn't want to go overboard just because I would like a little bit more of a ceiling. If 30 on 47's right about what I'm looking for in tournaments. So it is what it is. Is Wilson Chandler out again? I don't have him listed as out. Let me double check that in the charts. Wilson Chandler personal isn't on the Nets injury report. He should be ready to go versus the Hawks. Yeah, so it looks like he's in. How many games did he miss? Is that where some of those Garrett Temple minutes were coming? If so, that's a great observation, right? Josh Trainham won the first and second in the and one Wednesday, ranked 3,000. Nice, congrats, Josh. That's huge. Don't blow it all in one GPP, buddy. Let's move on to the next game. Toronto Raptors hosting the Charlotte Hornets. Project starting 5 for the Hornets: Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, Cody Zeller taking on Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Serge Ibaka. We got a 214 total. The home team Toronto Raptors, massive favorites here, 14-point favorites. This will be one of those games where I might be able to hit the X button, right? 10-game slate. If I can lock this down to 5 or less games of a player pool, I will. And I'm willing to completely eliminate the Hornets from my player pool. I always have a sweet spot for Devontae Graham at that price point. But the matchup isn't that pure, right? Toronto Raptors are one of the better teams in the league at defending the three-point shot, and that's really what Devontae Graham needs to go with, 10-plus assists. The Raptors have the third best three-point defense. So, not a matchup to project greatness here. But if he's gonna, just soak up garbage time, then maybe he's a filler spot, tier 3 spot. On the Raptors side, Serge Ibaka is about 5,900 on DraftKings, almost $1,000 cheaper than the FanDuel price point. So makes him a little bit more of a play for me on DraftKings. We'll pull up that Team DVP chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, and you'll find Charlotte Hornets allow the most fantasy points per game to opposing centers in the league. And that's incredible considering their pace. So Ibaka's in a spot where we could pay off that price point pretty easily. I prefer Ibaka in some fast-paced matchups, so this might be one of the more median returns here. But Ibaka is a fine play on DraftKings pre-flop. And then the Hornets, Cody Zeller should be back in the starting lineup. We did see a game where he did not play and Dwayne Dedmon filled in for him. Seems like we should expect Zeller back as a starting point. So I'm not going to go too crazy with the Hornets here. If Lowry, if you guys wanted supplementary shots of Lowry, VanVleet, Siakam, they all make sense. I wouldn't talk off of it, but I do feel like this game's going to be very lopsided very quickly. And we've seen Hornets just not show up to some of these big-time matchups against big-time opponents. So there's that. What are you guys doing this one before we move on to the next one? Peter Dobish says, I love Siakam and Ibaka if he plays. Yeah, I guess it's worth mentioning that Serge Ibaka is questionable, right? I'll get you the official word on that in just a moment. Serge Ibaka dealing with a sore right knee is questionable. Sounds like routine soreness for the veteran whose playing time is spiked in the absence of Marc Gasol. If he does need a night off, Toronto should turn to a variety of small lineups while relying on Chris Boucher as their default true center. So I'm not an NBA coach, but if I needed an opportunity to give somebody the night off, it might be when my team's a home 14-point favorite against the Charlotte Hornets. So maybe there's a chance Ibaka doesn't play. This game's 30 minutes after a main slate lock. Hopefully we'll have that news with ample time, right? OG GPP play, I don't mind that. What about RH Day? Yeah, RH Day is fine too. All the Raptors are probably fine, but it's not like something that I would, have a high percentage of, and not stuff I would go out of my way to play. RH Day, in my estimation, would probably get a bigger boost if Ibaka is out. So there's that. I like Surge too. If he plays the block, it's a great center play. Yeah, and on FanDuel, I think he's still a power forward. So, Travis, what up, Travis? You think OG plays more even in a blowout? So what are we working with? We got Norman Powell's questionable, right? But McCaw's is McCaw active? No, McCaw's questionable too. So let me see. If McCaw and Powell both miss, maybe. Patrick McCaw did not play Tuesday with an illness. He missed 3 games. Norman Powell, left finger, practice on Thursday and is being listed as questionable. He did get a full practice in, so there's a chance he could play. If we have McCaw, Powell, Terrence Davis, heck, even Matt Thomas has been getting run. I would say my thoughts on Anunoby playing blowout would be contingent on the status of McCaw, Powell, and then if Ibaka didn't play, we'd probably see Boucher and RHJ have to play extra minutes. So, yeah, I mean, if you just really liked Anunoby, though, like, I don't think at that price point I'd overthink blowouts, but I only have him at 26 minutes straight up anyway. Am I off base on that? 30, 28, 39. Maybe I'm a little light on my minute projection, but also McCall's missed a couple games, so yeah, I don't want to steer you wrong, man. If you're on Anunoby, this matchup's fine. Didn't Boucher go off for Charlotte last time? Yeah, we love bigs against the Hornets, that's for sure. Biyombo was good last game. Yeah, Biyombo was an amazing pivot to Jakob Poeltl that slate. An amazing pivot. Boucher looking like a cool punt on DraftKings. Yeah, I think Boucher, like, I could see a scenario where people are, like, ready to load up on Chris Boucher, and then maybe, like, Ibaka doesn't get ruled out or anything like that. Maybe Boucher still finds his way to 15, 20 minutes. At 3,400, Boucher in the top matchup on the slate, he might not only need 15 to 20 minutes to get you 30 fantasy points. He's one of those type of guys. Big block guy, too. So FanDuel, he might be a little bit more lucrative. Is he a power forward on FanDuel, or is he center only? He is not spelt like that. He is power forward. So, man, you punt a power forward spot, maybe falls into 4 blocks or something like that. Yeah, I don't think I like him for tournaments regardless, right? But I do think if Ibaka is questionable, even if Ibaka played, like, maybe the coach is keeping an eye on that, right? Let's move on to the next game. Cavaliers at the New Orleans Pelicans. Project starting 5 for the Cavs. Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Jetty Osman, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson. Taking on the Pelicans starting 5, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Derek Favors. We got 235 total, 12.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Nolans, Pelicans. Big time spread, though. Another excellent example of a slow-paced team up against a fast-paced team. Cavs have been bottom half of the league in pace, where the Pelicans have been top 5, top 6 in pace. So we might be able to put a couple extra possessions on guys like Sexton, Kevin Love's projections, and even Tristan Thompson without Andre Drummond could be a little curious up against the Pelicans. Pelicans have been playing really good basketball and or really, I'll say, better basketball than they had been. And that's to be expected as they've been able to sustain some level of health last couple weeks. Zion Williamson, AKs, right there with the Aaron Gordon and maybe the Karis LeVert area, right, where you feel like we're still not 100% sold that 40 plus is a sustainable range of outcome for him. But he's out here averaging 20 plus real points right now. He's a big focal point of this offense, but he's not doing a whole lot to put him over the hump other than scoring real points, right? Last game, kudos to him, 19 free throw attempts on 18 shot attempts. So definitely has the usage, and in this matchup against the Cavs, at home, definitely don't have much pushback on him other than, is there a range of outcome that at 8K he doesn't blow 40 out the water? And I think the answer is yes, if we're being honest, just because they're a fully healthy team. Remember, there's a couple games in here where Brandon Ingram was out. Ingram is back in the mix. We saw him in that Lakers game, 7.5K for him. 50 fantasy points there, 30 plus real points. I do like that this Pelican team feels like they're going to offer a high predictive value in minute projections. I got 37 on Drew, 35 on Ingram, 33 on Zion. So I don't feel like I'm dealing with one of those ridiculous Alvin Gentry rotations, knock on wood. But I also feel like everyone is priced appropriately. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like we're getting a bargain on any of these guys. So if I'm going to play any of these Pelicans, I'm just going to keep in mind that, it could just be good plays, they could be average plays, or it could be bad plays. So I'll probably, for that reason, have to tier 3 any Pelican interest that I have. On the Cavs side, Drummond out. We can still put minutes on Love, Thompson, and then how about our boy Larry Nance? I like him in some fast-paced spots, and then if the game gets out of control, maybe Kevin Porter at 5K is a name that people just won't be able to click with a high level of confidence. But Larry Nance at that price and this pace, man, I do like the potential for a big game. 39 fantasy points against the Philadelphia 76ers last game on 9 shot attempts. That's huge. A lot of peripherals his way. This type of pace is something that I do like for Nance. Last game against the Pelicans, he played 25 minutes, dropped 47 fantasy points. So Larry Nance might be one of my wild cards for tournaments tonight that I probably have way too much of. But I love this style for him. I love this pace for him. And then if we want to take some shots on one of these Cavs guards, I don't hate it. Sexton being right there at like that Evan Fournier price, kind of makes me lean Fournier for that matchup. I don't really want to pick on Drew Holiday specifically if I don't have to, but I definitely can see that this matchup could be, 30 plus fantasy point spot for him. So don't mind him. And then Tristan Thompson, right? I put Tristan Thompson at 27 minutes 2 games ago without Drummond. Thompson, actually the last 2 games here, 30 plus fantasy points. We'd take that as a starting point. Probably going to get a double-double. Last game against New Orleans, just 22 minutes, and that was the game where Larry Nance thrived. So I like Larry Nance quite a bit. I think Pelicans are all tier 3s for me. And then I might tier 2 Nance just to be, I don't know, I have to absorb and digest ownership projections, but I do dig some Nance, right? Ball, Holiday, Ingram, Zion, Sexton, Nance, maybe some Jetty. You want game stack it? I don't think that's crazy. Nicolo Melli's getting some run. All right, Nance or Jared Allen on FanDuel. I probably go Nance, but the Hawks is a good matchup for centers. I probably go Nance. Jared Allen, I know, doesn't get over 30 minutes usually. I do think there's a chance that Nance could get over 30 minutes, depending on how this game script goes, right? If a Love or a Thompson get into foul trouble. By the way, Zion should just destroy Kevin Love, so I like that. Ernesto says Nance is a better matchup outside Laurent. Yeah. Have both of those guys in the same lineup. Man, Jared Allen just doesn't get the minutes for me, man. Like, when DeAndre Jordan's out, yeah, I'm in. But, man, when DeAndre Jordan's in, Nance or Jared Allen just doesn't ever seem to get to that 30-minute threshold, and that just holds me back. I guess because his defense isn't the best. Dallas Mavericks at the Miami Heat. Projects 35 for the Mavs. Luka Doncic, Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis taking on Kendrick Nunn, Jimmy G, Buckets, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo. We got a Q tag on Luka Doncic, and then it's worth noting yesterday that Jalen Brunson came down with a significant injury. Reports are that he wants to play throughout the rest of the season with it and then get it treated in the offseason. So we'll see how that goes. But Jalen Brunson dealing with a potential torn labrum. He's going to sit out a couple games, but like I say, he plans to play through it. But with the games that he's going to sit out here, we might look his way for those minutes to open up. And we might just be able to play Seth Curry with a little bit more confidence and maybe some shots in the dark on guys like J.J. Barea. But Brunson, a guy that might get you 20 minutes on an average night. Those minutes go somewhere, right? And then Luka Doncic, Q-tag, that's a big one, right? Especially with Brunson out. Luka Doncic is dealing with a sprained left thumb. He was wearing a splint on his thumb after getting hit twice during Wednesday's game. He downplayed the severity at the time, but ultimately the Mavs trainers will decide if he can play without risking a bigger injury. We should know more after shoot around. So I didn't see any follow-up reports from that today yet. So if you guys have seen something, let me know. But if Luka was not able to go with Jalen Brunson down, they might have to force start Seth Curry and maybe J.J. Barea, and we've even seen them start Courtney Lee this season. So there's a couple different ways they can go, and then we just have to roll the dice on a shot on like Hardaway or something like that. In all the games that Doncic has not played and Porzingis has played, Porzingis has been an incredible play. So he might be somebody I have on deck to have a couple shares of. The Miami Heat on paper defensively have been good. But it does seem like lately they have been letting some leaks through, right? Timberwolves dropped 129 real points in regulation. The Cavs just put up 125. They had that, 19-point deficit in the fourth quarter that they overcame and won. So it just seems like lately there's been a couple spots. The Hawks dropped 129 in regulation. The Jazz dropped 116 in regulation. There's a couple spots where you're starting to wonder if Heat defense isn't what it is, or maybe some of these ins and outs are hurting a little bit, right? Is that Tyler Hero 25 minutes off the bench being that much of an impact? Is Myers Leonard a secret grinder? You know what I'm saying? So I keep that in mind. I think Luka has shown us that he can go off in tough matchups. So at 10.7K on DraftKings, I really, really need 55, 60 fantasy points as a starting point. With a thumb injury and how much hand contact that wing defenders that the Heat have, like Jimmy Butler and guys like that might have, I'm probably gonna be light on Doncic and hope for the best. Someone in the chat mentioned it's Slovenian night, so maybe Luka plays up for that narrative, and Goran Dragic on the flip side here. And then Jimmy Butler, 8K on both sides-ish. Could we get 40 plus out of him? We just saw what DeRozan was able to do. It's been a couple games since we really had a big 7.9K performance, like 51 against Golden State. But it's a spot where if it stays neutral, I can see Jimmy Butler stuffing the stat sheet here. Could we push 20 real points and then maybe get ourselves a poor man's shot at a triple-double or something like that? I think it's very possible. So maybe I have some shares of Butler. A good little pivot in that area to guys like Karis LeVert. Or if you had him in like a util spot from Aaron Gordon, I definitely think he falls through the cracks in ownership, right? Adebayo, 9.1 on FanDuel, 8.8 on DraftKings. I think he had a triple-double against the Mavericks earlier this season in an overtime game, if my memory serves me correct. So if you want to chase that, go for it. But I also think Jimmy Butler was out that game. So 9K, I need a shot at 50 to feel like I got a good deal, all right? See what you guys got on this game before we matriculate on to the next one. Porzingis, Butler, you like Porzingis? Aiden says Luka's 21st birthday last night in Miami, and he's all of a sudden questionable. Got that Miami flu, that South Beach flu, buddy. If Luka sits, DeLon Wright. Yeah, DeLon Wright, J.J. Barea, Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway. I feel like one of those guys, if not two of those guys, would be good plays. But I also think like two of those guys would not be good plays. So it becomes a little bit of Russian roulette. So I think Seth Curry is the guy I'm okay with taking a shot on lately. Seems like his shots are up and his shots falling. Almost 6K for him. 19, 22 real points. And in that San Antonio game, only 8 shot attempts in 35 minutes. Well, a little bit more out of your 3-ball specialist, but a couple of options in there. Let's move on to the next game here, keeping it moving. Oklahoma City Thunder at the Milwaukee Bucks. Project starting 5 for the Thunder. Chris Paul, SGA, Luke Lentz, Dort, Abdul Nader, Stone Cold, Steven Adams taking on Eric Bledsoe. Wesley Matthews, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez. We got 228 total, 11.5 point spread in favor of the home team Milwaukee Bucks. Thunder played last night, so they are one of the few teams on night 2 of a back-to-back here. So add that into consideration. We know Danilo Gallinari is going to be out. So for research purposes, we can go over to that on-off court tool and take Gallo off the court and just kind of see what that does for the team. Maybe we'll leave Chris Paul on and maybe SGA. So the first thing that kind of sticks out to me is that this is a fast-paced game. So I kind of like SGA in fast-paced matchups just because he's a little younger. His legs, might be able to get away with a little bit more. And I also like Dennis Schroeder because we do see a lot of 3-guard sets from the Thunder. And I also, if Abdul Nader and Lou Grant's Dort ain't holding their own, I could definitely see Dennis Schroeder coming out 3-guard sets and then they're just chucking, right? What am I looking for right now? Chris Paul, right? I'm just over here blabbering. Let's put Paul and SGA on, take off Gallinari, and see what comes back in terms of usage and fantasy points per minute. Vote the gun up. Y'all appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, man. Show me some love. Usage-wise, 31.4% usage for Dennis Schroeder, 91 minutes of sample size, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. SGA is a point per minute, and Chris Paul 1.3 at 25.5%. So definitely think all the guards are in consideration. I don't think we're getting a bargain on any of them. Almost 8K for Chris Paul, 75 for SGA. Maybe Dennis Schroeder's the guy that feels the best in terms of points per dollar and range of outcome upside. 5,600 on DraftKings, 5.3 on FanDuel. Can I get 30-plus fantasy points? I think so. I think he's one of those guys where he might be game script proof here, right? If the Thunder do come out dead-legged and the Bucks at home, take a commanding lead, they are double-digit favorites. Dennis Schroeder might be out there regardless in blowouts and in regular games. So I do like some Schroeder. I might put him in that Larry Nance category, right, where he's in that 5-6K range. And I think the matchup, the pace, everything about the spot is a plus for him. Bucks run a really fast-paced style of play. This forces opposing teams to chuck a lot of threes because they're so good. They're allowing over 42 real points per game from behind the arc, with nearly a 37% success rate. So we know Chris Paul can chuck threes. Schroeder, how's Schroeder been doing when it comes to chucking threes? Let's just look lately. 4-4. He's not chucking a ton of threes, but has he played the Bucks this season? One game, he put up 45 in 30 minutes. I really like Dennis Schroeder. I tend to play him a lot. Schroeder and like I said, Nance. I like their price points in their areas. If we run it back here, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 11.6K. It seems like whenever Giannis is on a slate with guys like Luka and Trey and guys like that, he gets kind of gets brushed off. But I think this is a spot where he is $1,000 more expensive than number 2 and over $1,000 than number 3. He's gonna have to perform maybe close to 12 points more than number 2, because that extra 1,000 is going to go a long way when it comes to salary construction. If we can get him into 30 minutes, 34 minutes in a neutral game, I'm a buyer. He played 36 minutes last time, put up 62 fantasy points. 62 is about what I need, right? I need that. I need that to be his floor here. So that's going to be a comfort call, whatever you guys feel like is your risk tolerance on him. I don't hate the idea of building around him, but I just think on this slate, there's so much goodness at the 8K range that I don't think I'll have a lot of exposure to the double-digit price points, the 10K plus guys, right? Ernest says, I like Schroeder too. Yep. I wonder what Kawhi's ownership on FanDuel. Yeah, me too. Move on to the next game. Grizzlies hosting the Sacramento Kings. Project starting 5 for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Harrison Barnes, Nemanja Bjelica, Harry Giles taking on Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, Josh Jackson, Kyle. The Andersons got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? Jonas Valanciunas, 227 is our total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Memphis Grizzlies. Kings, another team that is on night 2 of a back-to-back. Fox did not play a noche, however, so maybe he comes out with some fresher legs. Still has that Q tag on him, dealing with an abdomen. earlier this season, or he's got 3 games against Memphis, averaging 44.6. I do like Fox in pace-up spots, and I've said it. There's several games today that involve a slow-paced team facing a fast-paced team, but arguably none of those spots is a more drastic change than this spot. Kings, the slowest paced team in basketball, facing the Grizzlies, who are top 10 in pace. So it's huge for them. So that adds extra possessions, extra opportunity for De'Aaron Fox to be one of those long shots at a triple-double or something like that. And if he's not able to play, we probably anticipate Corey Joseph coming in, starting, playing a lot of minutes, and then we're looking at Buddy Hield, we're looking at Bogdanovich, guys like that, to do their part. Last night, Harry Giles, I think, had over 30 fantasy points. He's 5.6K. We need 30 at this point. But he's got a stretch of 30 bombs, 3 in a row. So I don't mind looking his way. No warm and fuzzies on that, but I'm a believer. Got my bang, chat. Finally got the bang. Now we can start the stream. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Grizzly side, Dylan Brooks. I got him down for 30 minutes. Can we get 20-plus real points and some peripherals to get 30-plus fantasy points? I think it's possible. Brandon Clark being down, Jaren Jackson Jr. being down. We're looking at guys like Jonas Valanciunas to maybe pick up the slack. Valanciunas usually, is a guy that is very, 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 very volatile in terms of minutes played. I'm not going to overreact to the Houston game. They were down 30, and Houston plays really, really small. But I think there's a chance here that Jonas Valanciunas might get you 30-plus minutes because of no Brandon Clark, because of no Jaren Jackson Jr. So at under 7K, I'm gonna put J-Val in the tier 3 spot, right? He's not, he's not 7, 8K. If he got me 35, I don't think it's the end of the world. So yeah, let's play some J-Val. Let's get weird. Let's get weird tonight. Josh Jackson, 46, 43. What do I want? 20, 25, 30 fantasy points. I think that's a range of outcomes we can handle. Let's go to Memphis real quick. Just real quick. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying not to bleed too far over the 4 p.m. area. So bear with me, guys. I'm trying. Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark. Let's put J-Val on. Let's run it. What do you think about Eric Bledsoe? OKC's giving up points to the point guard spot. 7K for Bledsoe. I don't know that Bledsoe is one of those guys I'm banking on for 30-plus minutes consistently. They have George Hill, Dante DiVincenzo, Connaughton. They have a lot of guards behind them. And earlier this season, we saw a lot of 26, 28-minute games from Bledsoe. So I don't know that my risk tolerance has me near Bledsoe tonight. But I don't think you're off base, right? This season, excuse me, without Triple J, almost a 27% usage rate for John Morant, 1 fantasy point per minute. J-Val is at 1.4 fantasy point per minute. I like that. If I can really sell myself on even just a 28-minute projection, 1.4 fantasy point per minute is huge. So yeah, I'm putting J-Val in the mix. The only question is tier 3 or tier 2. Yeah, no. Nemanja Bjelica, Harrison Barnes, these guys are solid stocking stuffer options for me. Guys I won't build around, but I'll take 36 minutes of just about anyone against the Memphis Grizzlies, and if Harrison Barnes wants to be that guy, then he wants to be that guy. If De'Aaron Fox is out again, I don't mind doubling down on Kent Bazemore here. I took a shot on him last night. It wasn't great. But I kind of don't mind that. And then, like you said, Buddy Hield, another guy that should pick up some usage slack in the absence or in a possible absence of De'Aaron Fox. So, yeah, I like this game. I like ideas from this game. I probably don't full stack it, but I like it. Ernesto says, Conchar 3.2K, my sneaky value play tonight. I think I saw that name on Twitter the other day, and somebody was like victory lapping 23 fantasy points. I was like, what? I need more. I need more. Is how much of these minutes is based on the last 2 games are blowouts? let me take a pause here. Let's go look at this popcorn machine. You guys know about popcornmachine.net? Conchar. So basically, Conchar played the whole fourth quarter in a 30-40 point blowout, bro. I would be really careful about that. And I would assume it's something similar in the game prior. So yeah, unless you think it's a blowout, I'm probably not there. But I like that you're getting weird. Shane says Nets versus Hawks look good. Yeah, we love Nets versus Hawks for sure. That looks... Well, I only have 3 warm and fuzzies, but that looks pretty stackable. Pistons at the Suns. Next game on the docket. Projects already 5 for the Pistons. Derrick Rose, Fee McCallick, Tony Snell, Christian Wood, John Henson taking on Ricky Rubio, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Dario Saric, DeAndre Ayton, 218.5 total, 8.5 point spread in favor of the home team. Phoenix Suns. The heart wants what the heart wants. The heart wants to play Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose on this side, on the north side of the train tracks, on the north side of the fantasy, the All-Star break, has just not been what you want for one reason or the other. Either shots not falling or minutes are not there. 14, 16, 15 shot attempts. You feel like that's a good starting point at under 6K. I need north side of 30 fantasy points. It's just been on the edge here. So I still might just have a little pencil of Rose here, but... Christian Wood is the guy that you want, 7.2K on DraftKings, 7.6K on FanDuel. Another name that you got to get used to paying that much for, but he's absolutely worth it. Usage, points per minute, production, all that stuff is going to be in his favor. I'm looking for the north side of 40 fantasy points. Definitely an attainable spot for him. In 32 minutes against the Phoenix Suns earlier this season, put up 35 fantasy points. So probably put him around a tier 3 area. And not going to do a lot more or a lot less with that. On the Suns side, Ricky Rubio had a massive game against the Utah Jazz. Probably not running to go after that, but without Kelly Oubre, maybe a couple extra peripherals and maybe a couple extra shots go his way. Devin Booker under AK against the Detroit Pistons. I think that is so sneaky, right? I think we put heavy minutes on him, and guys are gonna, have a lot of Karis LeVert in that area, or they just won't have Devin Booker. There's no reason to not have him for high minutes here. So if I can get 45, 50 fantasy points out of him, I'll take it. 41 minutes against Detroit last game, 37 DKP. Of course he did, right? But I like Booker a lot there. And then DeAndre Ayton, 8.1 on DraftKings. How do you not? Like, that's just like, I don't want to say free square, but we're getting in that territory where it might be a little disrespectful. Last game, 51.75 DKP, 17 rebounds against the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm a buyer here, 41 minutes, and I guess that game went to overtime, 55 fantasy points. I think this price is too low for Ayton. So Ayton, I don't see how Ayton doesn't make the tier 2 center option for me on DraftKings. I'll have a little bit on FanDuel, but this price point there's way too much to take advantage of at that price point for me. So I love me some Ayton, and I really like a look at Devin Booker in tournaments, and then, of course, Christian Wood. We do have Q tags on Bruce Brown and Sekou Doumbouya. If Bruce Brown was out and you could feel a little bit better about maybe a Derrick Rose or even a Svi Mikhailiuk, go for it. No warm and fuzzies here that I have as of now. That may change as we get closer to lock, right? Mr. Costas says, leave them Pistons alone. Dwayne Casey's one of them coaches who will find a way to hurt those pockets. Ouch, bro. Ouch. What do we got? We got 2 games on the docket. We're about to hit the top of the hour. We'll take a pause for the cause. Let you guys know that immediately following the stream, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, voice chatting up until lock. So if you guys want to be part of that, go to RunDFS.com. Make yourself an account. Go get yourself a week pass, a 2-week pass, month pass. Try it out. See what you think. We are getting really close to the MLB regular season start. And, of course, VIP passes give you that full access to all the VIP spreadsheets. And while the NBA spreadsheet's nice, the MLB spreadsheet is a whole nother monster. Like, it's probably a top 3 thing I've ever been part of creating. Like, it's up there. I mean, it's a big one. So if you guys want access to that, and then, of course, 24/7 access to the VIP Discord, including daily voice chats with myself and the Vipers, come be part of the community, man. We'd love to have you. RunDFS.com. Check out a week pass. and just see what you think. Washington Wizards at the Utah Jazz. Project 35 for the Wizards. Shabazz Napier, Bradley Beal, Isak Bonga, Rui Hachimura, Jan Mahinmi. Taking on Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, Bojan Bogdanovic, Rudy Gobert. 232.5 total. The Utah Jazz favored by 10 at the moment. Bradley Beal, almost 10K on DraftKings. He's been tearing it up on the season, averaging 30.1 real points per game. That's a great start. Big time, tough matchup here, but I like that he's forward eligible on DraftKings, makes lineups able to get a little bit more weird. 39, 41, 39 minutes his last 3 games. Each of those games, a lot of real points to boot. I'm looking for the north side of 50 fantasy points as a floor. Definitely viable here, but let's be a little bit real with some of these matchups lately. At Chicago, Chicago's a little bit different defense without Chris Dunn, and he played heavy minutes in that one, took 27 shots. Milwaukee, super fast pace, it's sink or swim on his back. I think they went to overtime as well. And then Brooklyn, a tough, not nearly as tough of a matchup. So, well, a couple of good matchups to help pad some stats here. So, for being real with ourselves, I'm probably going to be completely off of Bradley Beal on a 10-game slate and just take that chance. You know, some of these high-price scoring-dependent guys are a little risky. Shabazz Napier, 5K, took over that starting spot as we suspected on the last stream. 24 minutes against Brooklyn prior to that in that overtime game, 36 minutes. 5K, I really just don't think I'm pushing the issue with anyone on the Wizards here. I only have John Wall out, so that means their depth chart is going to be at full strength, right? The Mo Wagners, the Thomas Bryants, Ish Smith still off the bench, Davis Bertans. Who else might get some run here? I guess those are the big ones. Maybe Troy Brown, something like that. So there's still a lot of mouths to feed on the Wizards side. So I'm not going to push the issue here. They put Joe Ingles on the bench last game. So Mike Conley didn't lose that starting job as many reports came out. And then Donovan Mitchell, wouldn't you know it, had a big game. So all these guys, I think all the Jazz here are justifiable. I think Rudy Gobert probably profiles as probably a guy like floor to ceiling wise. Washington Wizards have been bottom 6 in the league in terms of fantasy points allowed per game to opposing centers. Lots of rebounds to go around, a couple blocks to boot. One game against the Wizards, he played 37 minutes, dropped 47. I'd probably get closer to 32, 35 minutes here, but I guess he has been playing 35 minutes. So a lot of minutes for Gobert here. Last couple games have been really, really underwhelming, so I can see a lot of people getting away from Gobert. The shot volume is down 4, 5, 7. But can we get a 18 rebound, 10, 12 real point, and a couple blocks game out of Rudy Gobert? I think it's possible. So I'd have him in the pool. I still like DeAndre Ayton at basically the same price in a 1v1. But I could see a couple Ayton Gobert lines getting a little weird out there for me. And then, of course, we got one game left on the docket. Before we do that, let me see what you guys got here. Van Jones says Wiz will win tonight. Oof. On the south side, Candy Spray looking so live. That's an amazing name. Is that like... sounds like bars. Lowest owned Phoenix Sun is interesting. McCall Bridges is only 5K on FanDuel. Very interesting without Kelly Oubre Jr. Hunter says, okay, Gun, one question, please. Your top 3 point guards on FanDuel. Point guards, eh? I like Trae Young quite a bit. I'm not going to put Fox in the mix just because of... we don't know if he's going to play. I'm probably going to go really cheap at point guard tonight. Like, really cheap. If we get some news on Doncic, I might take a shot on Curry. Man, top 3, huh? I guess Trae Young 1. Past that, point guard is pretty shallow in terms of confidence, right? Maybe Markelle Fultz at 5.6. I can get a 30 bomb out of that in that matchup. I think it's possible. Yeah, Markelle Fultz in the mix for sure. Lonzo's cheap. We love guards against the Cavs. Probably Lonzo. I'm probably gonna go a lot of mid-tier, low price guards here, man. I don't know if I could do you justice in ranking them right now. But Trae Young's probably 1, and then a mixture of Lonzo, Markelle Fultz. That's probably it for now. I kind of want to say Derrick Rose, but it's tough. It's tough, right? Three G's. Yeah. Mitchell won me my three. Yeah, oh man. Donovan Mitchell? Yeah, that's a huge. Yo, good for you, man. I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I even had Donovan Mitchell that night. Denver Nuggets at the Los Angeles Clippers. Main event of the night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off here. This is a game I wish they did without. Somebody mentioned they wish the T-Wolves game wasn't on the slate. I hate when there's only one game just floating on an island by itself an hour and a half after other games. And this is that game. Clippers hosting the Nuggets. Project 35 for the Nuggets. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Will Barton, Paul Millsap, and Nikola Jokic taking on Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. 219.5 star total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, 9.5 on DraftKings. If we love late night hammers, he's probably the guy to nominate here. Beverley and Paul George have been on a minutes restriction, so unless we get news that Doc Rivers has lifted that, I just probably don't look their way. And it would just be a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and if I really wanted to get freaky, Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell shares in tournaments. I always take shots on them. On the Nuggets side, I do like playing talented centers against the Clippers. We just saw Ayton was able to have like 17 rebounds. So Jokic, I know he's on the road. Maybe he's not out of play here at 9.6K. You know, maybe you get that late night hammer aspect. He dropped 52 fantasy points on him last game, 31 minutes. Lately, they've been in some weird games. You know, a couple lopsided games and a couple games where Jamal Murray, Will Barton back in the mix, or even Paul Millsap's been starting. So I still think 50 plus fantasy points is a real range of outcome, and I think that's a solid start at 9.6K. So give me some Jokic, man. I'll take it. I'll take some Jokic. He worked his road average, to just about 3 points lower than his home average. So I'll take some shots here. So give me a little bit of Jokic. Give me some Kawhi Leonard. And then if I really had to get freaky in tournaments, I like the mid range on a Lou Will or Montrezl Harrell, something like that. I probably don't have any other Clippers other than those three, and probably Kawhi being far and away the number one Clipper for me. Anyone else on the Nuggets that you would take a shot on? Will Barton's kind of cheap at 5.4K. Can I get 30 out of that? I think that is a possible range of outcome. And then Jamal Murray, I probably don't get there on DraftKings. FanDuel, we just talked about how shallow the point guard position is. So I do think there's a chance that he pays that off. I probably want around 38 as a starting point. I got him down for 36, so he's not missing the mark too far from a conservative projection, right? But yeah, that's it. That's your big slate. I got to get into the voice chat in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. So if you guys are watching on YouTube before you hit the road, would you mind hitting that thumbs up for me? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that sub button. And if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button. And I might be back tonight on Twitch with some video games. Other than that, I'm going to get in there, RunDFS.com VIP Discord. No stream tomorrow, right? I don't think we're going to do a weekend stream for the foreseeable future. So probably back on Monday. However, we do have weekend coverage in the VIP section. Tomorrow is 2, 4, 6, 8 total games and maybe 5 on the mains. Actually, tomorrow's not a bad slate. I don't know. Maybe if you guys are nice, we'll see. Other than that, if you want to reach out to me, twitter.com/GundackerSports. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. I'm off to the VIP Discord. Hope you guys crush tonight, win all of the money. Save some for me, though. Love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.